So good morning all. So today's topic for the competitive examinations, especially CET, is the principles of inheritance and variation. Of course, from the genetics unit, the first chapter. Now, before going to the discussion of the some model questions, I can say. You should know, or you should familiar with some terminologies that we frequently used in the chapter genetics, or in the field of genetics, are used by Mendel, I can say. So therefore, let us first have a brief, what I can say, the terms, using of terms, such as, first of all, you people should know the definition for genetics. So genetics, the branch of biology that deals with the study of inheritance and variation, that you all know, need not to be keep on defining the each and every term. If I do so, most probably there is a lack of time. So I'll just briefing the terms. Better before watching or solving the problems, you should go through these terms for the better understanding the question and to answer accurately. So after knowing the genetics, you should know the definition for inheritance or heredity. Both are the synonymous words. Then the gene, definition for gene. There are different definitions for the gene. The standard one, it is the unit of heredity. So followed by alleles, the two or more alternative form of the same gene we call alleles. Then locus or loci, followed by homozygous condition, heterozygous condition, and examples for homozygous and heterozygous for a particular character. Then genotype, phenotype, then followed by genotypic ratio, phenotypic ratio, then hybrid. Whenever we do cross between two parent different characters, the obtained offspring we call hybrid, and that hybrid may be of a single gene or single character difference, what you call monohybrid, or parent differ in two characters, dihybrid, like trihybrid, etc. Then whenever you come across the word homozygous, it may be what you call dominant or recessive. So under homozygous condition, we find two conditions. One is dominant, another is recessive condition. In case of dominant, both the characters in the genotype are represented by the capital letters, whereas in the recessive case, both the genes are represented by small letters. In few of the question, you may come across such things. Then what you call the F1 generation, whenever a cross is made from the parent, the first generation is called F1 generation, what you call first filial generation. Then the F2 generation. So F1 generation produces F2 generation when they are crossed. So etc. Then you should know about Mendel's law. Mendel have proposed basically two laws. First law of genetics, what you call law of segregation, also called law of purity of gametes. Then second law of independent assortment. Then there is one more called law of dominance, that is not to be considered as the main law of genetics. Mainly first law and second law. So first law is based on the conclusion drawn from monohybrid or single gene inheritance, And second law is drawn on the conclusion of the two gene inheritance. There onwards, you should be familiar with the different types of experiments or cross done by Mendel. That is monohybrid cross, single gene inheritance, dihybrid cross, two gene inheritance, followed by test cross for both monohybrid and dihybrid. He did test cross. Then back cross, one more cross that we come across later on. And again, some of the deviations of Mendel, that is after the Mendel works, after his death, his followers, his students has followed the same principles, experiments, and found some new things that has not explained by Mendel. Such things as what are called incomplete dominance, codominance, pleiotropy, polygenic inheritance, multiple allelism, such things have come to the notice. That what we call deviations of Mendel. Then you should be familiar with the examples for each of these deviation experiments, such as for incomplete dominance, the snapdragon, what you call Antirrhinum species plant, whereas for codominance, AB blood group in human, and for multiple allelism, ABO blood group system in human, and for pleiotrophism, the most common example we took, phenylketonuria disease, a genetic disorder. Then you should be familiar with pedigree and pedigree chart, representing the pedigree for a family and the various symbols used in the pedigree chart. You should be familiar with that, so that in future, a possibility that you may given a pedigree chart and asking to highlight or find out the conclusion in that chart as a answer. Okay. Then disorder, of course, genetic disorders. There are mainly two categorization. One is genetic or Mendelian disorder, another is chromosomal disorder. Again, under Mendelian or genetic disorder, allosomal disorder, autosomal disorder. Again, under autosomal disorder, recessive autosomal disorder. Similarly, in allosomal disorder, X-linked and Y-linked. Whereas in case of X-linked, again, X-linked dominant, X-linked recessive. For it, we have to discuss with few examples that in upcoming questions, might we are going to cover all these things. So, of course, chromosomal, whenever we come across the chromosomal disorder, the reason for that we found as a aneuploidy. That is addition or deletion of chromosome from the normal set of chromosome. So, as it happens, either addition or deletion in the normal set of chromosome, we find change in chromosome number, and that you called aneuploidy. That is the main reason. That is the condition where the reason for that is chromosomal non-disjunction. So these are all things you should be familiar. You have to be ready with these things so that you can easily answer the questions. So chromosomal disorder due to aneuploidy, again under that autosomal aneuploidy, allosomal aneuploidy. Change in the autosome number in the chromosome. As you know, 46 chromosomes of human. Under that, the 44 are autosomes and 2 are allosomes, what you call sex chromosomes, also called sex chromosomes. So maybe change in the autosome number, maybe change in the allosome number, what you call autosomal aneuploidy, allosomal aneuploidy. So irrespective, when there is an addition, we use the word trisomy. When there is a deletion, we use the term monosomy. Basically, these are the common what do you call, aneuploidy conditions occurs in human, either addition of one or deletion of one chromosome, either from autosomes or allosomes. So autosomal aneuploidy, such as autosomal monosomy, autosomal trisomy. For instance, we come across some questions where there is a example for that, like autosomal trisomy, Down syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, where autosomal monosomy, we have Turner's syndrome. Similarly, sorry, allosomal trisomy, Klinefelter syndrome, allosomal monosomy, Turner syndrome. Where autosomal trisomy, we have what do you call, the Down syndrome, where we have a partial monosomy, not complete one chromosome is absent, a partial half of the chromosome is absent, what you call Craig-Due-Chart syndrome for autosomal monosomy. Okay. Somehow, these are all some important topics on which basis many of the years question has been covered. So keep what you call, well prepared on these topics. So therefore, let us directly start the few model questions as I shared with the screen. Even I have to do some work on the board to make you understand better. Whenever I use board, better double click on the video so that it will zoom out and you can see the board work clearly. So the first question on the screen for today's class: the cross between two tall plants resulted in offspring having few dwarf plants. What would be the genotype of both the parents? Now, first analyze the question. It is the question based on the monohybrid cross done by Mandal. So there is a cross where two tall plants resulted in offsprings having few dwarf plants. In the sense, we have selected both are tall. Okay, we can see the option A, capital T, that is the genotype for pure homozygous tall condition. What you call pure line, we call that. And capital T, small t, it is also tall, but heterozygous in condition, as one is capital T, another is small t. So the character is represented by two dissimilar set of genes. Now, of course, we can consider that as one of the parent for both the tall. Okay, but we need the answer here. Let us, first of all, whenever you get a question, and after understanding the question, the best method to answer is simplify the options. Reduce the option numbers from 4 to possible less options. Like the D, if you look at the D option, capital T, small t, the tall, another is small t, small t. Now in the question itself, they have mentioned the two tall plants. In the sense, both the parents are tall. As we can skip the option D because it is not at all the answer. Another parent is dwarf. So left is the three options. Isn't or not? So come to the C. No doubt both are tall. And B, both are the parents are tall. And A, both are the parents are tall. But the next hint they have given in the question is, when such tall parent, both the tall parents have been crossed, they have given dwarf offsprings. So this happens only when there is a parent differ or parents are not pure line. Because whenever the parents are pure line, offsprings are also the same character as parents. Suppose if both the parents are pure line tall, no doubt all the offspring, irrespective of F1 generation or F2 generation, they are represented the same condition like tall only. So, or if they both are dwarf, pure dwarf, then we obtain only dwarf. Such parents are called pure line parents. If you are obtaining the opposite, another contrasting character to the parents, like parents are tall here, the contrasting for parent is dwarf, and the offsprings are dwarf here, it means that the parents are not pure line. So with these two main conclusion, one is both the parents should tall, as D option will be skip out, and the offsprings are dwarf in the sense the parents are not pure. The parents are not pure line. So even the option C will be skip out. Left is the option A and B. Now here you have to justify the what do you call answer. If you take out the option A, capital T and capital T small t, when they produce gametes, after capital T produce only single type of gamete, that is capital T only, where capital T small t produces two types of gamete. Okay. So for that, I need to use the board. So therefore, a very simple, don't blindly answer any such questions thinking that it's very simple. You need to just do a work on the rough sheet. Okay, hope you can make out. Capital T, I am taking the option 1. When they produce gametes, as they are the parents, this produce capital T only, and here there are possibility of producing two types of gamete. One is capital T, another is small t. Now make a cross to produce offsprings. Capital T has tall. Okay. Then another is capital T small t. It is also tall. None of the offspring is, of course, it is the pure tall and it is the heterozygous tall. None of the offspring is dwarf. Whereas in question they have said that the offsprings are dwarf. So let us take the option B, capital T small t, capital T small t. When they produce gametes, both produce two types of gametes as they are heterozygous in condition. Capital T small t. Even you can put this under Punnett square, as you know, a checkerboard. Capital T small t, capital T small t, small t, small t. So here you can make first three are tall. Okay, as a phenotypic representation, they are tall. Whereas first one is pure tall, two of these heterozygous tall, and one is dwarf. So hope you got the answer. Answer is B, question B. Okay. Now let us move on. That's about the question 1. The main two things you should follow. First, concentrate on the question. Find out the findings given, hints given, like they have told two tall parents, offsprings are, few of the offsprings are dwarf. In this sense, the parents are not pure line, one thing, and again, both the parents are tall, second thing. So in the option, you can remove some of the options which are not applicable as per the question. So as to what you call make the easy answering the options, because less options, chances of answering accuracy is more. Hope you clear with the question number 1. Come to the question number 2. The phenotypic and genotypic ratio are identical in case of. Again, this is based on various experiments, including monohybrid, because test cross is we can do for both monohybrid and dihybrid. There is one more, incomplete dominance has the option. So the phenotypic and genotypic ratio are identical in case of. So after obtaining F2 generation, we drawn the phenotypic and genotypic ratio. That is how many different types of gene patterns we obtained and how many different types of different character that is appeared in the F2 generation. So incomplete dominance, again, the snapdragon, when a red color flower is crossed with white color flower. This is the example. This is the common character we take as the flower color in snapdragon, also what you call scientifically Antirrhinum species. So in that incomplete dominance, if you are familiar with the cross, I can't say if you are, because you must be familiar with these crosses. So when a red color flower of snapdragon plant is crossed with a white color flower, this is the parental character, contrasting character we took for incomplete dominance. Basically, as per the Mendel, any one of the character, what you call dominant character, should be appear in F1 generation. But here, such things won't happen. There is a what you call expression of both the genes. That's why it is called incomplete dominant. Dominant gene is unable to completely suppress the recessive gene. As that both the genes express, even recessive gene express its character as a we obtain pink color F1 generation. When this pink color F1 generation is allowed to self crossed, we obtain the F2 generation in the phenotypic ratio 1 is to 2 is to 1. Okay. Similar way, in the genotypic ratio also, we obtain 1 is to 2 is to 1. If you just do the cross, you may clearly come to know that uh, capital W, small w, this is what the genotypic we represent for red and white color. Capital W for red, small w for white. When capital W, small w, F1 generation, that is neither red nor white, it is pink. When capital W, small w cross with capital W, small w, you may obtain capital W as the 25%, capital W, small w 50%, and small w 25% among the offsprings as 1 is to 2 is to 1 ratio. So genotypically and phenotypically, even in incomplete dominance, the ratio will be same. So do you think that is the answer? So it's clear, A is the answer. When you come to the B, monohybrid test cross. So test cross, you should know first of all, a cross between F1 generation and their homozygous recessive parent. Okay, F1 generation crossed with their homozygous recessive parent. If you do such, for example, F1 generation of monohybrid cross is capital T, small t. It is crossed with recessive parent is small t, small t. Again, you obtain the ratio, phenotypic ratio 1 is to 1. And genotypic ratio is also 1 is to 1. So here also in monohybrid test class also the both genotypic and phenotypic ratio is same. In the sense both A and B is all they are the answer, but such options is not there. Option is all of these. In the sense the option C dihybrid test class should also shows similar phenotypic and genotypic ratio, identical ratio. And of course it shows like in case of monohybrid test class, what do you find? 1 is to 1 as the phenotypic and genotypic ratio. Whereas in dihybrid class, what is the ratio is 1 is to 1 is to 1 is to 1. All the four patterns of different genotype and phenotype will obtain, such as round yellow, round green, wrinkled yellow, wrinkled green. 1, 1, 25, 20, 25%. That is 1 is to 1 is to 1 is to 1. So option is, sorry, answer for the question number 2 is all of this. You can find phenotypic and genotypic ratio is same in all these tests, all these experiments. So answer may be one of these when the options will be changed. For example, instead of monohybrid test cross, I can simply give monohybrid cross. That's it. At that time, phenotypic ratio is different, genotypic ratio is. That is 1 is to 2 is to 1 is the genotypic ratio, 3 is to 1 is the phenotypic ratio. They are not the same. Similarly, I simply give dihybrid cross, not the test cross, only dihybrid cross. At that time, 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1 is the phenotypic ratio. 1 is to 2 is to 2 is to 4 is to 1 is to 2 is to 1 is to 2 is to 1 is the genotypic ratio. So both are not the same. They are same when there is a test cross. So answer is all of this. Hope you are clear with the question number 2. Let us move on. Question number 3. A phenotype which can appear in true breeding as well as hybrid individual is. So a phenotype which can appear in true breeding, I have told pure line or true breeding, both are same in the sense they are homozygous in condition, as well as the hybrid individuals. Even the hybrid individuals, you get that phenotype. They are asking which is that phenotype. So let us discuss homozygous. So hybrids are not always homozygous. Hope you are clear with that. Hybrid may be homozygous or heterozygous. So when they are homozygous, it may be dominant or recessive. So therefore, a phenotype which can appear in true breeding as well as hybrid, they have not mentioned which hybrid. Whenever they not mention, you basically concern or take into consideration the F1 generation. Okay, not F2 generation. We'll take F1 generation. So therefore, keeping in that mind, most of the crosses, either monohybrid cross or dihybrid cross, when the pure parents are taken, the F1 hybrid is heterozygous. Under that, only one of the parental character is expressed, and that is what we call dominant character. So in homozygous, it may be dominant or recessive. So we cannot consider homozygous condition as an answer because it may represent in two different cases, not in both parent and hybrid. Okay. Heterozygous always shows only one character, that is dominant. So what is common? Because, for example, capital T, one parent, tall, another is dwarf, small t, small t. Now both are homozygous, but one character should be represented. So in homozygous condition, only one character will be represented, not hybrid character. Okay. So therefore, the answer will be here is dominant. So dominant as in parent capital T is there, whereas in F1 it is also, though it is capital T small t, what is the phenotype represented is that plant is grows tall as one of its parent. So the common one in both hybrid and the parent, that is true breeding parent, is the phenotype is dominant character. Okay. So this is one more as a theoretical concept. You should understand that theory concept very well of crossing parents and hybrid. Therefore, you can make the answer well. Now, next question, a cross between two hybrid individuals of F1 progeny. A cross between two hybrid individuals of the F1 progeny. Now we are crossing F1 to obtain F2. What happens if you do that F1 cross? Whenever we use the cross, in the sense, we are making some changes. Okay. So, of course, option A is called selfing of F1 individuals. Not necessary. If we want to find out some results, some variations, we may do the hybridization, not always selfing. So selfing is here one of the answer, but not accurate for this one. Okay. If we allow for selfing, then only go under self pollination, or we can also achieve cross pollination. So there is a two answer for option A. So keeping in that mind, we cannot consider that as an answer. Produce second filial generation. So when cross between two hybrid individuals of F1 progeny, either if you allow it for self-pollination or you do cross-pollination, what you obtain is F2 generation. That is the common, only single statement applicable here. For option 2, there is another condition that you may not call it as self-pollination because we may, because again, here is one more condition we can apply in this case, that we can do cross pollination. So there is one more option for that. So we cannot purely consider that as an answer. Possibility is that, but that not the near answer. So produce second filial generation. I just told F1 either self-pollinated or we have done cross-pollination. Ultimately, they produce F2 generation. So that's the answer. Is called a test cross? Never. As you know already, what is test cross? A cross between F1 and their parent. Here the cross is between F1 and F1 only. So always produce 3:1 phenotypic ratio, not necessary. It is happen only in case of monohybrid cross. If it is a test cross, the phenotypic ratio will be 1:2:1. So therefore, we cannot consider that. Or if it is a dihybrid cross, it is a 9:3:3:1. So phenotypic ratio will be changed. Here he is saying always, not possible. Depending upon the F1 and depending upon the what do you call character, either one or two character, the phenotypic ratio of F2 will be changed when F1 will be crossed. So answer is B, option B. So moving on, the next question. Okay. A double heterozygous tall pea plant. So read the question very carefully. A double heterozygous tall pea plant. Here is a hint that in a double in the sense, in both the cases, there must be, in both the parent, there must be one heterozygous condition. Then with round seed is crossed with. So one character has mentioned, another character has not mentioned, because if you observe the options, the options given is for two characters. The genotype what has mentioned is for two characters, but they have only mentioned that a double heterozygous tall pea plant with round seed. Okay, so tall one is one character, another is round seed is the another character. Cross with a single heterozygous tall pea plant, another parent. Okay, opposite to that is a single heterozygous. So in one parent, there must be two heterozygous condition, and in another parent, there must be a one heterozygous condition. Again, with the tall and round seed plant only. Which is the following phenotype will be correctly represent the above cross? Now, you have to find out the genotype, exact genotype of the parent here. So let us look on the option capital T, option A, capital T, capital R, small r. So here you can see that both the parent, this parent is double heterozygous. Both the characters are in heterozygous. So capital T, capital R, small r. As per the question, the tall double heterozygous applicable. Okay. Cross with single heterozygous, another parent, that is capital T, capital R, small r. Capital one is homozygous, another is heterozygous. So single heterozygous. So as per the question, option A is the answer. Now option B, that is capital T, capital R, small r. As the option A, here also the first parent is double heterozygous. Okay, you can clearly see in the options. Where another capital T, capital R, capital. Here tall is heterozygous, that is single heterozygous. Round is homozygous, but applicable answer. This is also a right answer. So hope you got the answer already. As in option D, it has given A or B. Both are the answer. Why not C? C. First parent, capital T, homozygous. Capital R, small r, heterozygous. So single heterozygous, not the double heterozygous. Next parent, capital T, single, capital R, that is homozygous. So both are single heterozygous. But as per the question, one is double heterozygous, another is single heterozygous in character. So option C is not the answer as per the question hints given. So either A or B is the answer. That D option is the right one. Hope you are clear. So the next question. In a dihybrid cross, if you get 9:3:3:1 ratio, it denotes that. So we are doing dihybrid cross. In that, if you get 9:3:3:1 ratio, what is its denotion? What is that phenotype justifies here. Of course, 9:3:2, 3:1 is the phenotypic ratio of dihybrid cross, what Mendel has done. The alleles of the two genes are interacting with each other. Option A, the alleles of two genes are interacting with each other. That may be the reason, or it denotes that, or it is a multigenic inheritance. That ratio says that there is involvement of more than two genes, or in this case of it is the case of multiple allelism. It may be the reason that there is a alternative form of two or more genes of the same gene. The alleles of two genes are segregating independently. So first you should know 9:3:3:1, round yellow, round green, wrinkled yellow, wrinkled green. 9 round yellow, that is one of the parental character. 3 round green, that's not the parental character. Okay, what you have taken parent is round yellow, one parent, wrinkled green is another parent. So 9 round yellow we got, no doubt. There is a inheritance as per the parent characters taken place. 1 wrinkled green we got as the parental character, but round green, wrinkled yellow, round yellow, wrinkled green, wrinkled yellow, that is what we found 3:3 ratio, 2, as a different in character that of the parent. And this is because not the interaction of the two genes. If the two genes have interacted, might be intermediate character will be appears. It is not the multiple gene inheritance. Okay, there is no involvement of more than two genes here. As per the experiment, it is very clear, only parental genes, only a set of genes are responsible. It is not the interaction of multiple allelism. Okay, it is because of the what you call segregation of alleles, two alleles independently. That's why, based on this ratio only, Mendel has concluded the law of independent assortment. Why we got two different characters, offsprings to that of the parent, is because of independent segregation of the gene. That you have come to very clearly if you have understood the law of independent assortment and its explanation. So answer is D. D1 is the answer. So for most of the theoretical question like this, what I have just thought, for the 9:3:3:1 ratio, there is no board work. You should be understand with the principles of the experiment done by Mendel. So you should have that concept clearly in your mind. Now, how many different types of gametes can be produced by an individual with capital Y, capital Y, capital R, capital R, capital T genotype? One of the important expecting type of question, a tricky question we can call, giving some genotype of the parent, asking the number of the gamete they are produced. A very simple hint here to solve this kind of question. The possibility of getting different types of gametes, more than one type of gamete, happens when the parent shows heterozygous condition. Hope you are clear with this point. Whenever you get this kind of question asking the number of types of gametes by giving some genotype of the parent, keep it in mind. You obtain different, in the sense more than one type, like in option 8, 4, 2, none of these they have given. More than one type of gametes you obtain if there is a heterozygous condition in the genotype. Let us come to the question first. Capital Y, capital R, small t, small t. Is there is a heterozygous condition here? Can you make out the heterozygous condition in this genotype? No. All are homozygous in condition. When there is a homozygous, all the gametes are homozygous in condition, there is a chances of getting only single type of gamete, that is capital Y, capital R, capital T. Both are together make one gamete. There is no possible. Though it produces thousands of gametes, all contains same type of genes, capital Y, capital R, capital T. that is similar types. So if you come to the answer 8, 4, 2, none of this. So option is none of this. You may not get 2, 4 or 8. If you make change in that, for instance, capital Y, capital Y, capital R, instead of here, yes, capital R, then capital T, small t, I'll take this. Okay. So Y as R as it is, but here it produced two different types of possibilities. So therefore, capital T is 1, Y as it is, R as it is, small t. So here you can obtain two types of gametes if it is in heterozygous condition. Okay, so like that, number of heterozygous, more the different types of gamete you may obtain. So there is a simple formula for that. That is number of gametes. Whenever there is a more, for instance, what is taken here is capital A, small a, capital B, small b, capital C, small c. Now, you can clearly see that there are three heterozygous conditions. All the characters are in heterozygous condition. Therefore, what is the possible number of gamete? If you keep on taking their, what do you call, uh, dividing formation of gametes, that is meiosis, there is a more work has to be done. For that, a very simplified trick is here. The formula is here to calculate number of gametes depending upon the number of heterozygous in the genotype. And that formula is number of gamete is equal to 2 to the power n. What is the formula? Number of the gamete is equal to 2 to the power n. N is number of heterozygotes. So what is n here is number of heterozygote. If there is at least one heterozygote, the minimal value is 2. So therefore, 2 remains as it is. If there is more than one heterozygous, let us apply for this question. How many possible number of gametes if you obtain from this genotype? If there is a question, the answer is very simple. 2 to the power, how many heterozygotes are? 3 heterozygotes are there. That is equal to 2 into 2 into 2. That is 4 into 2. That is equal to 8. So the possible number of gamete is 8. Like that, let us consider there are 5 heterozygotes like capital, capital B, small b, capital C, small c, capital D, small d, capital E, small e. At that time, 2 to the power 5. So that is equal to 36. Like that. Hope you understand the basic principle to solve this kind of question. Whenever they ask you to answer number of gametes obtained from particular genotype. Very simple concept. If there are heterozygote in the genotype, you may obtain more than one type of gametes, of course. If there are no heterozygotes, like in this question, you obtain only one type of gametes. If it is an answer like 8, 4, 2, D has 1 at that time, 1 is the answer. But here 1 has not given, so none of this is will be the answer. Or else you to simply follow the formula. When they ask number of gamete, you have to multiply 2 to the power n. N is number of heterozygotes in the genotype. How many heterozygotes are there? You have to look out in the genotype. As you know, heterozygotes are two dissimilar set of gene representation. So as I just given, capital A, capital B, small b, capital C, small c, all are heterozygotes only. So you may get, even you can calculate this with the second law of dihybrid cross. What you obtain in F1 generation is capital R, capital Y, small y, two heterozygotes. Is it or not? So 2 to the power 2, that is equal to 4. So 4 type, capital R, small y. Small r, capital Y, small r, small y, 4 types of gametes. And that's how we put in the Punnett square, isn't or not? So this is the simple way of solving this type of question. Important one might be going to ask. Identify the false statement from the following. So here you have to find the false statement, a theoretical type of question. A diploid individual can be homozygous for a trait. No doubt. Whenever a diploid individual can be given, they may be homozygous or heterozygous. So that's not the false, it's a true statement. An individual possessing both the alleles of a trait is diploid. Of course, as most of the plant taken is the diploid plant, so they have a two set of genes, one from the one parent, another from the another. For example, capital T, small t is the genotype. Capital T is from one parent, that is tall parent. Small t is from the dwarf parent. So of course, both the traits are present. An individual possessing both the alleles for the trait is monohybrid. So it may be monohybrid or dihybrid. That does not matter, but the statement is true here. So all the statements are true. There is no false statement. So answer will be the none of these. Now, occasionally a single gene may express more than one effect. A phenotype phenomena is called. So here they have given a definition or a statement of one of the term. You have to identify that term. What do you call the expression of many effects by the expression of single gene? And that phenomena, I directly get to the answer, is pleiotropism. Okay, so they may give answer what is pleiotropism, or pleiotropism refers to as a question, and they give different options like single gene express more than one effect, or two or more alternative form of the same gene, that is for multiple allelism. So the above statement is not for multiple allelism. What do you call mosaicism? So mosaic, basically the presence of different patterns. So mosaicism is the one of the condition where a single individual body cells contain different types of genetic what do you call genetic lines. They found different genetic makeup in the same body cells. Such phenomena is called mosaicism. Since it is not as deal anywhere in our syllabus, but the term has given, let us make the term only familiar, or its definition: the presence of different genetic lines in the cells of the same body, or in the cells of the same organisms of the body. So that is happened due to mutations. The basic reason for this is mutation. So sudden mutation changes have happened. Therefore, a genetic makeup of the body of the same organism will be changed between the cells. So polygenic inheritance, not polygyny, actually it is called polygenic. That is a phenomena where more than two genes involved for a character, affecting a character. That is a polygenic inheritance. Like the skin color in human is an example where it is controlled by three different genes. Considered capital A, capital A, capital B, capital B, capital C as the dominant for completely dark color. So small recessive for completely light color individuals. Depending upon the number of capital A and small capital and small letters, the skin color defines. So more than two number of genes involved. Such condition is called polygenic inheritance. So answer for where single gene effect, what do you call more than single gene shows more than one effect is pleiotropism. As I just told the example, phenylketonuria. So one of the disorder, you are also going to study the disorder in Mendelian disorders, where there is a single gene defect. Due to that, an enzyme responsible for metabolic activity will be lack here. So due to that, many organs will be affected. So that is called shows more than one effects. Multi disorders will be takes place, and that is pleiotropism. So next, segregation of alleles takes place during. So when you find the separation of alleles from two chromosomes. Basically, alleles are two chromosomes. When they separate, when you find that segregation, they're asking S phase. No, S phase is the synthetic phase where the DNA replicates. Anaphase 1, it is the phase during the chromosome separates, moves to the opposite poles. Anaphase 2, here also same thing happens. The segregation of alleles takes place during crossing over in meiosis 1. At that time, only two genes come across each other, then they separate. So crossing over in meiosis 1 is the answer for here. So these are all some direct questions, so you need not to require much explanation. According to the law of purity of gametes, every gamete is pure for. So according to law of purity of gametes, as this is also called the first law of genetics, that is law of segregation. Every gamete is pure for the dominant trait, the recessive trait, one trait, or all the traits it contains. So every gamete is pure for not only dominant, it is also for recessive. So therefore, not only one, it is for all traits that it contains. For all the character, it simply shows its purity, segregates. The next is dihybrid cross is related to the principles of. So answer is very clear. Dominant character is on the both first law and second law. Not only dihybrid, monohybrid and dihybrid. Both the time you will get dominance. So segregation, it is only for monohybrid cross. So dihybrid cross is related to the principles of independent assortment. That's why dihybrid cross will concluded by second law called law of independent assortment. Again, purity of gamete is nothing but first law. Then a cross between a dominant phenotype with the recessive parent in order to check its genotype called. So here is some important or a new pattern of question. A cross between a dominant phenotype with their recessive parent in order to check its genotype. Keep it in mind, we are going to do a cross to find out the genotype of an unknown parent. So option answer has a question is given the hint to check out the genotype, they are told. So we do a cross to check out the genotype of unknown parent, and that is the test cross. That is the answer. Now what is this back cross? So back cross, it is a cross between F1 with any of its parent. Understand? Not to find out the genotype, we simply do that to find out the result. That's it. Whatever the possible result we obtain, we do this. But in case of test cross, F1 with recessive parent, no, to know the genotype of F1, we do that test cross. You have given some plant as a tall plant, but you don't know whether it is capital T, or capital T, small t. To know that genotype, what you have to do, you have to cross the capital T given tall plant with its recessive parent. What is the recessive character of the tall is dwarf. Small t, that is homozygous recessive parent you have to cross. At that time, you know, after obtaining 1:2:1 ratio as the result, 1:1 as the result of test cross of monohybrid, that means the F1 given tall plant is a heterozygous. If it is not in that ratio, it is homozygous tall. Like that. Back cross F1 with any of the parent, either recessive or dominant. That does not matter. So monohybrid cross, dihybrid cross, that is not the options at all. So test cross. So keep it in mind. To know the genotype is test cross. That is the main hint. Gene located at the same locus but having different expressions are. I just thought this question. Genes located on the same locus but have different expression. Such is called pleiotropic genes. They are on the same locus but shows many different effects or expressions. So polygenic, they are not on the same locus, they are on the different locus. Multiple alleles, of course, they are present on the same locus, but not for different expression. They give simple expression, that is the particular blood group. Holandric genes, so these are one more type of genes, especially called Y genes. So the genes that are present on Y chromosome, we call Holandric genes, and the character, the phenomena they represent is called Holandrism, and basically the character that is being transferred from male progeny to another male progeny, from male parents to male offsprings. So that is Y character we call. Example like hypertrichosis, baldness, etc. are the some of the characters from male to male progeny. That is called Hollandrism. Now, if a man of blood group A in heterozygous marries to a woman with blood group B in heterozygous, so they are given two parents and their blood groups A and B, and both are heterozygous, that is IA, IB. A blood group heterozygous represented by capital IA and small I. B blood group heterozygous small I, IB small I. As you know, when they form gametes, they form two types of gametes. IA one type, small I another type. Here IB one type, small I another type. Now IA, IB, IA, IB, I. So AB blood, A blood, B blood, O blood. So hope you got the answer. When both the parents are heterozygous, especially for A and B blood group, the possible type of blood group in children is all the four types: A, B, AB, and O. Okay. For only AB, the parent must be pure homozygous A and homozygous B. So that is the condition. You just do this some work for this also. You'll get the answer, because this topic was taught in both first PUC and second PUC. So therefore, you might very clear with that. A woman received her X chromosome from. So as you know, women are represented by 2X, XX condition, where males are considered by XY. So a female received one of the X chromosome from mother through egg, another X chromosome from father through sperm, that is X sperm. So therefore, a woman received her X chromosome from her mother only. I just given the explanation. It's not only from mother, her father only. They are saying only, not possible. It is from both mother and father. That is from both mother and father is the answer. From paternal grandfather, so that's not the answer. Okay, basically from paternal grandfather, she won't receive, because from grandfather, the father receive only Y chromosome. As that, no chance that from that father she can receive X chromosome from to the mother. So therefore, sorry, to the daughter. Therefore, D is not the answer. C is the answer for that. So female receive one X chromosome from mother, another X chromosome from father. Next question. Crisscross inheritance means. So one more type of inheritance, crisscross inheritance. This is also called Z inheritance. So here, it is the inheritance where a male progeny receive the X chromosome from the grandfather, maternal grandfather we can say. So a mother received from X chromosome from her father, that is for the F2 generation it is grandfather. Mother is F1 generation, parent is grandfather. So a mother receives X chromosome from her father, and that X chromosome she may transfer to the one of its son, because human XY male is a XY. So X is from mother. As such, she received a X chromosome, that X chromosome from her father. Then she transfers that same X chromosome to her son. So this kind of pattern of transferring a X chromosome, basically we thought this for the diseases, like a hemophilic man has transferred her hemophilic defected gene to the daughter. As she received one healthy chromosome from mother, she is not hemophilic, but she is a carrier. That happened in the case of Queen Victoria, as Queen Victoria is a carrier for hemophilic, as she received one of the defected X chromosome from her father. Then she transferred that defected X chromosome gene, a defected X chromosome with hemophilic gene, to their son. That's why most of the sons of Queen Victoria died because of hemophilia. So this kind of pattern of inheritance from father to the daughter and from the daughter to the son basically called from grandfather to the daughter and from the daughter to the grandson. This is called crisscross inheritance. Okay, so maybe again that son will transfer that defected X chromosome to one of her daughter, and same thing maybe continues. This pattern of inheritance called crisscross inheritance. So X chromosome from male will pass to the male, next male. No, this is called Hollandrism. X chromosome from female to pass to the female next generation. No, this is a simple inheritance. X chromosome from male will pass to the females of the next generation. That's why I told, from grandfather to the mother. So that is C is the answer here. Next is conditions of karyotype 2n plus or minus 1 and 2n plus or minus 2 are called. So a karyotype where there is addition or deletion of chromosome is simply called aneuploidy. That is the answer. That is given in question. Addition plus or minus in the sense either addition or deletion of one or two chromosome. This is the definition for aneuploidy. Okay, this happened due to chromosomal non-disjunction, and this is the reason. Aneuploidy is one of the reason in human of creating chromosomal disorder like Down syndrome, Turner syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, etc. So polyploidy, it is 2n plus n, not 1 or plus or minus 1 or 2. It is 2n plus n, increasing the whole set of the chromosome to normal diploid side. At that time, what you obtain triploidy, tetraploidy, pentaploidy, like that. Not 2n, 3n, 4n, 5n, that is polyploidy. Allopolyploidy, that is if the chromosome or the set of the chromosome what we received is from the same what you call mother. Allopolyploidy, it is from the same mother, same parent or same species, are different species. That is allopolyploidy or autopolyploidy. So allopolyploidy is from the different lines like black grapes and white grapes. Combining these chromosomes may referred as allopolyploidy. So monosomy, a deletion of one chromosome from normal diploid side. For example, 2n minus 1, that is equal to, instead of 46, it is going to be 45. Such condition is called monosomy. Okay, answer for that is aneuploidy. If a genetic disease is transferred from a phenotypically normal but carrier female to only some of their male progeny, this is called. So here, a genetic disease is transferred from a phenotypically normal but carrier female. In the sense, the female is normal, but she has a defected one of the X chromosome, okay, or one of the gene in the X chromosome. Only some of the male progeny, the disease is. Now, here one basic thing, X-linked disease, X-linked disorders are more pronounced for male progeny than female, because the male are received X chromosome only from mother. Okay, so X-linked in the sense from mother only, Y-linked in the sense from father. So here they have given autosomal dominant, autosomal recessive, sex-linked dominant, sex-linked recessive. So basically autosomal dominant, whenever we come across autosomal, whether it is dominant or recessive, the chances of transferring the disorder is equal for both male and female. When it is X-linked, it is also similar for both male and female. But here I have given hint that only some of the male progeny. In the sense, it is not autosomal dominant or recessive, it is X-linked. So sex-linked dominant they have given, sex-linked recessive they have given. If it is sex-linked dominant, not only few, all the males are affected. So if it is a sex-linked recessive, at that time chances are there that only few male progeny are affected. So that's the answer, sex-linked recessive. Hope you are getting my points. Okay, might I am quite fast, but need to be discussed more questions in given time. So hope you cope up and you balance the speed. In a certain taxons of insects, some have 17 chromosomes, the other have 18 chromosomes. The 17, 18 chromosome being bearing organisms are. So I forget to mention you one of the introductory point that you should also know sex determination in human, in insects, and in birds. There are three types of sex determination as taught in the syllabus. So here 17 and 18 chromosome has mentioned, that is 17 and 18 chromosome bearing organisms are. They are asking, they are given hint insects. So which insect they are asking? So male and female respectively in 17 in one sex, 18 in another sex. So you have to make out that which is that male and female respectively. 17 must be a male, 18 must be a female, like that, or female and male respectively. A 17 may female or 18 may be a male, like that. In this sense, orderly, it should be a male or female. All males, only males, all females. So we don't, of course, there are insects where all the males have a particular number of chromosomes and all the females have a particular same type of chromosome, or both have the same type of chromosome. But in some group of insect like grasshopper, okay, so in that you find 17 chromosomes in case of male. As you know, the grasshopper sex determination is X and XO type of sex determination, where females are designated by XX, males are designated by females are designated by XX, males are designated by X0 or XO. So O is nothing but 0, nothing is there. So therefore, they may have 18 and they may have 17. So 17 male, 18 female. That's the answer, and that is the option A here. Next, the inheritance pattern of gene over generation among human is studied by pedigree analysis. Character studied in the pedigree analysis is equivalent to, so some analytical concept has is given. Quantitative trait is for basically to what you call pleiotrophism. Okay, we use for polygenic and pleiotrophism quantitative traits. As per the question, the inheritance pattern of gene over generation after generation in pedigree analysis for human is same as what Mendel done for pea plant. So Mendelian traits. It's not for polygenic, or as I just told, polygenic and multiple allelism is quantitative trait, not maternal trait. So mother and father of the person with O blood group have A and B blood group respectively. What would be the genotype of both mother and father? Now here, a man, a person having blood group O, but their parents have A and B blood group. Now, if from such parents, a O blood group person has been formed or born, at that time, what should be the genotypic condition of that parent? If suppose both the parents are pure A and B, that is no chance of getting O blood group, one thing. Is it or not? If both the parents are homozygous A and homozygous B, they never get O blood group. So in the previous question, we already thought the possibility of getting O blood group, A or B blood group separately is only happens when the parents are heterozygous A and B. Hope you got the answer. Mother is heterozygous for A blood group and father is heterozygous for B, and that is the answer. Mother is heterozygous for A blood group and father is homozygous. Not possible. When father is homozygous B, possibility is only A and B. Both mother and father are heterozygous for A and B blood group respectively. Both mother and father are heterozygous for A and B blood group respectively. Oh, sorry, my mistake. Option A, mother is homozygous, not possible. That is again A and B possible only. So option C is the answer. Both mother and father are homozygous. If they are homozygous, they obtain only AB blood group children, not O. So need not to go for wasting more time for such questions. That's are okay and easy questions. You can answer very easily. Chromosomes were discovered by, of course, the chromosomes were first discovered by Strasburger during the staining the nucleus in grasshopper testis. Morgan, as you know, Thomas Hunt Morgan, given linkage and recombination concept. Punnett has given Punnett square representing the different gametes and F2 generation. Mendel, father of genetics. Genes are the gametes of DNA and consist of specific sequence of A, T, G, C nucleotides along the length of the strand. So this is not the concept. Simply to make you confused, they have elaborated the question. What is important? Two alleles of each genes are present at the identical loci in, no doubt, for a character, two chromosomes, two genes. That's why we used to say genes and chromosome behave parallelly. Is it or not? As per the Thomas Hunt Morgan, the conclusion what Mendel has given, chromosomal theory of inheritance. Sorry, Sutton and Boveri, chromosomal theory of inheritance. In that, they say that genes and chromosome behave parallelly. So therefore, two alleles of genes are present at the identical loci in. So here you have to make out this conclusion where they are present. Loci is the place where genes are located in a chromosome. Isn't or not? In an homologous chromosome. That is the important point. Homologous chromosome. The chromosome which are similar in structure and function. Suppose I have 46 chromosome in 23 pairs. Each pair, one from mother, another from father. And they have similar in structure and function. In one chromosome, I have a particular gene at one point. In another chromosome, I have a particular another gene for the same character at the same loci. Now, let's come to the answer here. That is two strands of a DNA. So basically, not at all. Okay, they are not at the two strands of the DNA. So DNA is found wrapped in the chromosomes. Of course, a chromosome have double-stranded. Single chromosome itself has double-stranded DNA. That's not the answer. Two sister chromatid. Keep this point in mind. A chromosome with bivalent condition. These are called sister chromatids. Another homologous chromosome adjacent to that, this and this are called non-sister chromatids. This is from father, this is from mother. So these two chromatids, suppose here is a gene in this loci, at the same point, here is a gene, same gene for the same character, and another homologous chromosome. So this is the concept. That is what called gene mapping. Okay. So non-sister chromatids of homologous chromosome, that's the answer. Sister chromatids of homologous chromosome, that's not there. Okay, non-sister chromatids of the two homologous chromosome, we find it two genes for the same character in an. Suppose a pea plant with a T, capital T, small t, capital R genotype is crossed with another pea plant with capital T, capital R genotype. The progeny obtained is expected to show. Now here you have to again do some what you call work. Capital T, small t. What is the given condition? Capital T, small t, capital R, cross with small t, small r, capital R. Simply capital T, capital R, capital T, sorry, small t, capital R. Okay. Now capital T, small t, capital R, small t, capital R. 1:1 ratio. That is, both the genotypic and phenotypic ratio will be 1 as one of the test cross. Okay. That's the answer. Next. Which of the following is not result in the variation among siblings? So when there is an independent assortment, which of the following is not result in variation among siblings. When siblings look almost similar in each other, what is not happen, not result in variation has given. So that is the independent assortment of gene. Whenever the independent assortment of gene you can itself has found in pea plant that different parental different offsprings have been formed, 4 different types. That means variations has taken place. Crossing over, when two genes cross each other, there is a formation of new genotype, that is recombination happens. So it also resulting in variation. Whenever changes, sudden changes happen, it also resulting in variation. So when linkage, simply when two gene come across each other but not crossing over has taken place, at that time two siblings appear similar with each other. So linkage is the answer. Then in sickle cell anemia, glutamic acid is, sorry, a person having genotype IA, IB would show the blood group as AB. This is because, you know, AB is one of the example, AB blood group is one of the example for co-dominance. The sickle cell anemia, glutamic acid is replaced by valine. Which one of the following is triplet code for valine? Of course, as you know, GUG is the code for valine. That's one of the changes. Instead of GAG, okay, a mutation happens to GUG, which leads to a great disorder called sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia is, so sickle cell anemia is an autosomal recessive inheritance. So these are all directly questions, need not to be required more time for spending more time for explanation. Turner syndrome is, of course, the represented chromosomal complement of Turner syndrome is the XO, as all the individuals affected by Turner syndromes are females because there is no Y or another X. So XO condition. XXY, XXX, XYY, they are Klinefelter syndrome. Under that, particularly and more often common is XXY. Okay, what you call super males, where XXX called super, sorry, XX called super females, XYY are called super males. That is very rare condition. XXY is the most commonest condition among the human. Point mutation involves, so point mutation, change in single base pair, duplication, deletion, insertion. As you know, there are 2 types of mutation. One is point mutation, another is frame shift mutation. Point mutation, what happens? Change in the single base pair occurs. Okay, that the answer has, hope you got that. Change in the single base pair is the point mutation definition. Where addition or deletion from the nitrogen bases. For example, in the previous case, we thought glutamic acid, GAG is the nitrogen base, but GUG happens. There is a change in the base pair from A to U happen, that is called point mutation. Okay, but when addition or deletion of nitrogen base takes place due to either insertion or duplication, addition happens, where due to some error, deletion happens. At that time, it is called frame shift mutation. For that, in NCERT, they have given RAM as a red cap that give adding the one-on-one nitrogen base in a particular word, you may find the changes. So duplication, deletion, insertion is for frame shift mutation. Change in the single base pair for point mutation. Down syndrome occurs as a result of, so Down syndrome is one of the example for trisomy, what you call 21st trisomy. There is addition of one extra chromosome or 21st pair. So that is called 21st trisomy, or it is simply autosomal trisomy. And under that also, it is a particularly autosomal trisomy. Autosomal 21st trisomy is the full required concept. Okay, where tetrasomy is not the tetrasomy. Autosomal polyploidy, autosomal aneuploidy, I just thought in the previous class. Addition of extra set of autosomes, sorry, addition of whole set of chromosomes, that is 2n plus n is equal to 3n, or 2n plus 2n is equal to 4n, like that. Either of same species or of 2 different species, autopolyploidy and allopolyploidy. Okay, like tomato and potato, 2 different species. Black grape, white grape, both are same species, only color change, at that time same species. Presence of whole set of chromosome in multiple set is just thought. Presence of whole set of chromosome in multiple set is what you call euploidy. Okay, so whole set of chromosomes is euploidy. Addition or deletion, aneuploidy, alloploliploidy, autoploidy, that is same, are same, two same species or different species. Heterotrichosis is an example for. So in the, again, while explaining few questions like Hollandric genes, I have told heterotrichosis is one of the male presence of bunch of hair tufts in the ear pinnae. Such persons are called hypertrichic persons, and it is for through Hollandric gene, that is from Y gene, character transfer from male progeny to male progeny only. So it is a Y linked. Okay, Hollandric genes are nothing but the genes present on Y chromosome. So Y linked it is, neither X linked nor XY linked, or not autosomal inheritance. Sterile male, enlarged breast, feminine voice are symptoms of. So symptoms of one of the disorder has given. So you can clearly make out Klinefelter syndrome is the answer for that. Where in Turner syndrome, the females, no doubt, they are also sterile, but they shows different character like mental retardation, short stature like that. Down syndrome, either male or female because of autosomal disorder. Cray-Duchat syndrome, as I told, a partial monosomy of autosome where the short arms of the fifth chromosome will be deleted. One of the fifth chromosome, not the two, both the pair, only from one chromosome, short arm and long arm. When the submetacentric chromosomes are formed, one is long arm, another is short arm. So short arm is completely deleted. At that time, this disease is characterized called Cray-Duchat syndrome. That is a Japanese name called cray-like cat syndrome, that due to which the trachea will not properly form, and when the children's uh, cries, it seems like cray-like cat. So, okay. So there are still many questions under that. Let us come to the 39. The symbol of empty circle used in the pedigree analysis represent. In the sense, there are many symbols: circle, square, rhombus. Okay, circle, female; square, males; rhombus, sex unspecified. Circle, shaded, affected. What do you call it? Square, shaded, affected, like that. So here, a symbol empty circle, nothing has shaded. So normal, female is the answer. Okay, I think it's time up. Rest of the question is easy one. You can segregate, solve yourself. If any problem, we will meet in the next class. ಇದು ಬೇರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹುಡುಗರಿಗೆ ಇರ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಗೈಡ್ಲೈನ್ಸ್ ಬೇರೆ ತರ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು, ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿ